So apparently, Candace Owens is against forcing people to get a shot. And when I read that, I was like, yes, there's someone on our side. There's a politician on our side. But when I looked her up, I realized she's not even a politician. She's like a political activist and an author and, you know, all these other things, a public speaker. So that's why I was so shocked. I was like, is there actually a politician out there that's against forcing people to get a shot? I don't really think there is. I tried to look it up. I didn't really see any. I mean, I didn't do tons of research, but for the most part, I didn't really see any. So what I did was I looked up celebrities that were against forcing people to get a shot, and there were plenty. There were a lot of celebrities that were anti-forcing people to get the shot. But the thing is, the crazy thing is, after they come out with their statements on Twitter, and this is in the past, like 2015, 2016, even the 90s, you had celebrities coming out and saying, people shouldn't be forced to get a shot. Their kids, they either have kids who started showing symptoms of things after they got their shots, or they were injured themselves. Like Candace Owens apparently said she was injured herself from a shot. It's one of those shots that women get. I'm not going to say the name because, who knows what they'll do. Because a lot of these celebrities, the reason I say that, who knows what they'll do, is because a lot of these celebrities, after coming out with these statements, they always come back and make a public statement saying, I'm not anti-vax, I'm not anti-vax. They come out and say these statements afterwards. So what happens is there's either a big public uproar, or, politicians get to them, or somebody gets to them. I mean, that industry is freaking huge, So I wouldn't doubt if they have had people to go after those, especially people with a voice who are against forcing people to get the shot. Okay, so it's interesting what happens with a lot of celebrities after they come out against the forceful shots, and that's kind of scary, but that's what runs this country. So anyway, since Candace Owens isn't a politician, I decided to look up politicians that are against forcing people to get the shot, and like I said, there weren't many. So that leads me to believe that politicians don't really care. Politicians don't care if we live or die. In order to believe that they really want to help us by forcing us to get the shot, you have to believe that they care if you live or die. Okay, when I was doing the research, I came across this video where it was saying politicians don't care about you, the government don't care about you, and they never will. Okay, there was this study done at Princeton. Okay, and this guy said he thought the government was fair and honest and wanted to help people until he saw this graph from these researchers at Princeton. Okay, so what does the graph look like? It looks like this. Okay, so on the bottom of the graph, that is, how much the public want something to happen, want the government to do something. So way over here on the graph, the public don't want it at all. Okay, the public doesn't want, whatever legislation to go through or just something to happen. Now, all the way over here, 100% of the population, the public want a certain legislation to pass, or just the government to do something to help in a certain way, whatever, like, labeling GMOs or just what have you, certain things that the public wants. 100% of the public wants this. So basically it goes from 0 to 100. Now on this one, you have 0 to 100. This is how likely the government is going to pass the legislation from 0 to 100. Okay? So the video said, in an ideal society, the line represented how much stuff got done according to how much the public wants it, would go up at an angle, and it would be like 50-50. So if 50% of the public wanted something to happen, there should be a 50% chance. In an ideal society, there would be a 50% chance of that bill getting passed, or of that actually happening. If 80% of the public wanted it to happen, then there would be an 80% chance of the bill passing, or whatever the public wanted to be done. Okay, if 0% wanted it, then there would be a 0% chance of the bill passing, or whatever the public wanted happening. to happen. It would be a 0%, 0%, 80%, 80%, 50%, 50%. That would be an ideal society. That would be a fair and just society, representation of the people. Okay. Now what the graph shows next is the reality of the situation. Okay. So let's say 100% of the public wants something to happen, a legislation to pass, or the government to do something, or to regulate something. 100% of the public wants it. There's only a 30% chance that that's going to happen. 30% chance. Okay, now let's say 0% of the population wants something, wants a legislation, or wants, something to happen. There's still a 30% chance that the bill is going to go through and legislation is going to pass. Basically, what this proves is that they don't really care what the people think. Legislation gets passed or doesn't go through, and it has nothing to do with what the people want. So if you look at it from this graph, which is from a Princeton research, okay, if you look at this, it will tell you that they don't care about what people think. They're going to pass whatever bill they want. They're not going to pass whatever bill they don't want. And it doesn't matter how much we want it or how much we don't want it. Okay? Also, look at all these things that are harmful to humans that other countries ban, like certain chemicals. I'm not going to mention what they are, but, there's a lot of chemicals and a lot of things that are banned in other countries, but it's legal in the U.S. And they're banned in other countries because they're unsafe. Okay, they're legal in the U.S. So, how can you think the government cares if you live or die if these other countries ban these things because it's going to hurt or kill their people, yet the U.S. doesn't ban it? Okay, so if you look at the graph, if you look at the way the government just doesn't care and does what it wants, then you should logically and critically realize that they don't care if you live or die. And if you realize that they don't care if you live or die, then you should realize that getting the shot, being forced to get the shot, may be not the best thing for us. Okay, because that's what it comes down to. If they really wanted to help, if they really wanted to save everybody, they would care if we live or die. But they don't. They would care what we think, but they don't. Okay, now the elite, on the other hand, the 2% or the 1%, the graph looks more ideal. It's almost ideal, 50%. It's very close. It's not, 100% ideal, but it's very close to that. So when, the 1%ers get their lobbyists and pay Congress bribes, bribe, it's just, they changed the term so it won't sound bad. Basically, what that study was saying is corruption is legal in the U.S. because the elite, the 1%ers, are able to get what they want passed, and they're able to, 100% of the time, if they don't want something to pass, it doesn't pass. Yet for everyone else, if they don't want it to pass, it'll pass 30% of the time. But they are able to get whatever they don't want, they're able to stop it. Now, when you go up to what they want, they don't get it 100% of the time, but it's really close. So basically, like I said, that's what it's saying. It's saying corruption is legal in the U.S. And if you go to this website, it's called, let me look up the website, .us, what is it called? Let me look up this website so you can check it out. Represent.us. So go to www.represent.us, and they're working to trying to change this legal corruption in the U.S. And anybody could help. So go over there and check that out. But like I said, they really don't care about us. They don't care if we live or die. And these forceful shots are not good. But anyway, thanks, Candace Owens. for being on our side, being a political activist. And let's try to make a change for the better so that the government will care about us and we will get our say, because that's what needs to happen.